If you're listening to this video, I'm currently away on holiday at the moment, so I'm not going to be active really for like this week. But I thought I would have something queued up as a little discussion before I leave, and I wanted to talk about a new card that was very popular at the European Championship, and a lot of the CCG boys were playing this card, and I think a couple of other people as well were running it. When I first saw it at locals, I thought it was a bit of a meme realistically, but it turns out that this is actually quite a decent extender. For those of you who are wondering what I mean by extender, an extender is basically just a card that you can play that, well, extends your plays, but essentially relies on some sort of a setup. So in this scenario, we've got this card here, which is called Shuffle Reborn. And for those of you who don't know what Shuffle Reborn is, basically, if you don't control any monsters, you can target a monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but its effects are negated. And then I think it like banishes it in the end phase or something. But realistically, the way this card's going to work is, so previously when you had like your extenders, they would be like Terra Top. Well, realistically, you start with a Terra Top. So really like in the mirror match for Zoo, like your extender would just pretty much just be your normal summon. But you also, of course, have Barrage. But you know, with the loss of Norden, means we don't have Instant Fusion anymore. But Instant Fusion was also another type of extender. So an extender is just basically a card that requires setup that extends your play out like after disruption, or just to help further your combo and win condition. Yeah, so this card was played by Marcello Barbary he got first place, and he went 17-0 and undefeated, and he played 2 copies in his deck. And obviously this card is primarily designed for going second, but it also helps kind of against Ghost Ogre. Now, it's not the greatest card going first, but I think going second, it does have a lot of potential just as a way of playing through your opponent's Solemn Strike, Dryden, Ghost Ogre, or whatever it is that they have to disrupt your initial play. Now, I think that it's got a lot of benefit with this, just because of the fact that I think the activation condition of having no monsters isn't too big of a deal, because that is when you would want to use it. And generally in Zoo, if you have a board in the first place, that probably means you're winning anyway. So I don't think I would maybe consider it a dead draw, but it seemed to work quite well for Barbary at 2 copies. Now, realistically, like I said, like the way this is pretty much going to be worked is if your opponent disrupts your play. Now, I don't think there was any super major drawbacks here. If you are in a winning position, then it's obviously completely dead, because you're not going to have any monsters. You will have monsters on your field, so it's, you know, you can't even activate it. But realistically, the only card that you would have in that scenario would probably be like a trap card or some kind of defensive, which I guess this doesn't really provide anything in that aspect. But the deck does kind of have a lot of space anyway, so you know, you probably won't be like playing any less than like the Solemn Brigade and My Bodies. So these kind of things protect your board. But yeah, this is primarily designed for going second, which is obviously the hard part with the mirror match, is like being able to play through things like Debarrier Strike and Dryden. Obviously doesn't really help you play through Debarrier, but just any sort of like removal, this card lets you go around that. So yeah, I think this card has a lot of potential, and I just wanted to put the question out there to you guys and let me know what you think. You know, is this the new kind of standard extender for Zoo? Because obviously it's lost so much now. It's 7 cards, I think, roughly from the main deck have just gone with the ban list. Obviously, despite the ban list, the deck is super powerful despite it. But, you know, losing Terra Tops means that you're not going to have that initial like play that you just sort of like throw into the back row and, you know, hope you can like bait a couple of things out. Losing Instant Fusion was of course really rough. With Norden being banned, it means that you can't bring anything back from your graveyard to be able to like overlay into. So Shuffle Reborn is sort of designed to fix that kind of problem. And yeah, the second effect in the graveyard is pretty cool. Basically lets you just like 1-for-1 draw out your deck and look for answers and dig for combo pieces and stuff. But yeah, I think this has a lot of potential going forward for the North American WCQ. I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are on it. Obviously, other than the, you know, lack of like playability outside of, you know, kind of just trying to like deal with your opponent's board, it doesn't really seem to have much of a use. Like if you are like in a winning position, it's not going to be doing anything for you. But then again, you'd probably be asking yourself, well, if I'm winning anyway, then it doesn't really matter if it's dead in my hand because, well, I'm winning. Right? Generally, if you have a board in Zoo, it means you are in a good position. So that's just kind of my kind of thoughts on it. Like I said, let me know what you guys think down below. I'd be curious to know if you guys think that this is a worthy extender to play at the North American WCQ. So comment down below. If you've listened this far, give me hashtag Reborn the Monster Reborn. And yeah, see you next time.